started. Can I have your attention, folks? We're going to get started with the program. Just a couple of housekeeping notes here. Please make sure that your cell phones are off or on silenced. We have a very busy agenda. Pam Wagner is our timekeeper right up here at this front table. So we really need you to pay attention to the timekeeper so that we can stay on target, but we want to make sure that everybody, sponsors and our guest speaker, all have their allotted amount of time. So we try not to go over, we try to stay right on schedule. So if you just kind of keep your eye on Pam. And also, there's the handheld mic here. Obviously, there's another microphone right up here, and this microphone is recording for the video production of this event that will be on our YouTube channel and also goes up on the city's charter community channel for community news and such. So it's important. I know lots of people like to walk around, use their hands, but if you can try to remember to stay up closer to this mic so that we capture good sound, that would be great. So with that being said, Pastor Andrew Klook from Faith Christian Family Church will say our opening prayer.
Good morning. Let's pray. Father, we come before you in Jesus' name, that we lift up our community, our county. Lord, we thank you that your word says that this is the day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Lord, we know everything isn't perfect, and we know that things need to change. And Lord, I thank you for the people in this room that are working every day. They wake up every morning and go out, and they work to make things better. I know that they do it for you, and they do it for this community. We pray your hand upon this meeting and blessing upon everyone here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Andrew. Okay, news from the chamber. In your guest bags, there is this pretty bright yellow flyer. It has information about the upcoming Spring Expo that will be on April the 22nd. Lots of good fun things are coming. If you haven't registered your company for a vendor space, this is a very good event to do a lot of consumer direct marketing, sales, generating leads, and so on. We've got lots of fun and great things planned for family members. Fun character artists, which is free glitter tattoos. We've got a snapshot photo booth coming in. Home Depot is going to be doing a free kids hands-on activity. Lapeer County Sheriff's mounted unit their search and rescue unit will be there with their horses, the canines and such. Lapeer County EMS will be there. Lapeer City Fire will be there with their big truck and Sparky the fire dog. Yep, we missed Sparky last year. He was sick, but he's back. So we've got some great demos, a cardio drumming demo that will be going on at the event. So a lot of really good fun things that are going to be happening. Milnes Ford will again be sponsoring through Ford Motor Company Drive for Your Community. This is a fundraising event that helps us to put money into the annual fireworks fund. So there is a flyer in your bags about that too. If you stop by the expo, which we would encourage you to do, even if you aren't a vendor, bring your kids, your grandkids, and so on. Come on out. If you take a test drive, and it's not a high pressure sales thing, you come out, you take a test drive, then Ford Motor Company will donate $20 per drive to the fireworks, and as I understand, it's something new this year that it's a 50-50 match. So we raise a couple $1,000 or $3,000 through Ford, Milnes matches it. So we're really excited about this. My goal in 11 years, I've always wanted to get the fireworks up to about a $20,000 show because I want to just see that sky explode with fireworks for, 30 minutes and hear all the families oohing and eyeing and the kids having fun and so on. So we've never quite been able to get there, but hopefully maybe this year with this effort again, we'll be able to do that. So we appreciate your support. Information obviously is going out in the papers about the event and so on. And there'll be reminder emails and whatnot. And it's posted on our Facebook page, and there's a Facebook page for the event itself. So we hope that you'll give us a little time and come on out for that. So you've been hearing about the Food Truck Festival, something new that we're going to be doing here for the first time in Lapeer County, so people can enjoy it here instead of having to travel out of county. We are working with the Downtown Development Authority in conjunction with the Monday night car cruise downtown. And we're hoping that this will bring in a lot of younger families to the downtown to see what the downtown has to offer. So hopefully coming to the food trucks, which will be in the city lot 10 between Court Street and Saginaw Street, right along the river. So we will not go past the light pole, so there's ample parking for the trucks there. First time trying out this event, so we're kind of, with the blessing and the help of Terry's personnel and Chief Rich's personnel, we're, logistically trying to make sure that this is not a huge inconvenience. So there won't be just those few back areas along the river that we're utilizing. It seems like a nice backdrop for it, and we're gonna, kind of be revamping it as we go along. And we hope that it's successful. We hope that it brings a lot of families and young people downtown, young families to come to that, stroll up onto Nipissing Street, check out the car cruise. There's going to be music and DJ up there. So we're hoping that it'll be a really fun event for everyone and a successful one. So looking forward to that. It's had a lot of really good feedback on social media. So we're pleased with that. So those are kind of things that are coming up, and so with that, all that information is in your bags. Information from your sponsors and such are also is also in your bags. So, and then for our Wake Up Lapeer in May, we have a special motivational speaker coming in. His name is Michael Jeffries, and he's one of America's most engaging sales and motivational speakers, and he speaks all over the country. So we're really excited about that he'll be coming in. So with that said, trying to stay on target here. Am I on time? Ooh, I'm just a minute over. No, I'm not. I'm on time. Okay. So we're moving ahead, and I am really pleased and excited to announce and introduce our guest speaker today, Lapeer County Sheriff Scott McKenna, and I'm very excited to have him here. Sheriff McKenna, come on up.
Thank you. Good morning. I think Nita said if she's ever seen me speak, is why she said to stay right here, because I move around quite a bit. So I'll do my best, so just hit me and knock me back over if I move out. Thanks for allowing me to be here this morning. I know we got about 20 minutes here. I'd like to be able to grab some questions at the end, so I'll move kind of quickly. We've really been focused lately, obviously for the last year of me being in here. The reason I took this job, the reason I got involved in this is because of the kids. Is my passion has been, I've coached, you've probably heard me say it a million times, I've coached about 1,000 kids in this county. And it was a point where I really wanted to see and get out there and to truly try to make a difference in a lot of the things that we're doing. Everything has kind of went a little crazy since then. We obviously, 8 weeks into coming in is when we had the Zemmer case that we'll talk a little bit briefly on too. But then obviously even with the Parkland deal in Florida. And that's the part that everybody's talking about right now. So we looked at it. I've been kind of going to the schools all since the beginning of last year to sit down and talk openly with kids. And even probably today, you're gonna hear kind of speaking that you're not really used to. I'm a in-your-face kind of speaker. I don't like the politics. I really don't. And so to go and sit and talk to kids, I have a 14-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter. I've coached kids from many ages. These kids are so much smarter than what we give them credit for. They are so smart, and a lot of times to sit and talk or to do the politics or to the politically correct way of saying it, it doesn't work. So I really try to sit down and talk with these kids in a real way. I am very blessed especially because I ran the youth football program for years, I got a lot of these boys, a lot of these cheerleaders, a lot of these boys and girls that will come up and they'll talk to me like I'm their friend. They tell me what's happening in these schools. So it really made it to where I wanted to get in there and discuss things that they understood and talk on a level that they were comfortable with. So we started doing that and kind of did that last year on multiple issues. Obviously the drug issue, the opiate problem. We started doing some of the stuff with the schools on that. Then we started having issues with sexting and some of the videos and some of the pictures being taken. And then Parkland happened. And ultimately since then, we looked at it and said, okay, I truly saw that people were scared, including my kids. So at that point I said, all right, you know what? If we're going to do this, then let's get completely real with this, get in your face, and we'll talk about it. So my goal has been, we're hitting, and I know people ask this question all the time, right now I'm hitting pretty much 5th or 6th, all the way through 12th grade in all 5 school districts that I want to stand in front of every single kid. and have talks and have real talks about what's happening, whether it's all the social media stuff, whether it's Parkland, whether it's the safety at their schools and some of the things that are happening. So we've been going, this has been a crazy couple weeks. I got about another week and a half full of it, but everybody's embracing it. We're doing the classes. We eventually want to come back to the younger kids, and I really want to start looking at implementing some programs starting at about K through the kindergarten area, or where we start talking about some of these topics and that they're getting it, pieces of it every single year. We're doing a bunch of parent forums. I get excited about talking to the kids. I got to be honest with you, in a lot of ways, I get more excited about talking to the parents. Why? Because sometimes the biggest social media problems and the things we have are with the adults. And we'll touch on that briefly. Let me tell you this, that I know you see this and know this. So school-wise, we've hit every Lapeer school. We had the high school at the beginning of the week. We've done Elmont. I've done all of North Branch schools. I've done Bishop Kelly. I've done Chatfield. And then we have parent forums coming up. We're in North Branch Sunday night with a parent forum. We got a tea party speaking with the superintendent and myself on Tuesday. Wednesday is Dryden. And then we got a big one for Bishop Kelly and all the churches in the county. So we're doing all of these things trying to get to that. Here's the crazy part to me. We take and sit down with all these kids. Perfect example I'll give you is 900 kids in Zemmer the other day. These are 8th and 9th graders, my son included. We put 900 kids in the gym. I don't know about you, but I remember when I was in 8th grade, if you put me in the gym for an assembly, I was screwing off. I was excited to be out of class, and I was looking at girls, and I was doing whatever it was that I could do. We walk into these gyms, and I sat in front of Zemmer, and this is every school that we went into, and it's dead silent. The kids are attentive. They're paying attention. Nobody's on their phones. They're asking questions. The truth is, they're scared, just like we are. And if you've seen any of the videos that we've been putting out and all the stuff in there, I stand right in front of it and I said, I don't care. I could care less that you're in front of your peers. And I don't want you to be nervous or scared or worried, because this is a time we need leaders, not followers. And when we sit there and talk, I say to them, I don't care who's sitting next to you, but if you're worried, if you're truly scared about schools and the way our world is right now, raise your hand. And you see hands, there's not even a hesitation. 95% of those go up. And the other 5%, when they realize that the other 95% did and it's okay for them to raise their hand, they do. And then I ask them to hold them up. And I say at that time is, hold on, stop. Look and see who has their hands up. And there I am standing right in front of them. And then you look at the teachers, principals, superintendents lined along the walls, and all their hands are up. It's okay. And I want them to realize it's okay, but I also want them to realize that let's talk about this stuff. The day and age where we've lived in communities, and I push this really since I've come in. I think a lot of people in a lot of communities all across the country, whether we talk about drugs, whether we talk about safety of our kids, whether we talk about social media, I think a lot of times we don't want to talk about it. Oh gosh, forbid, we can't do that. We got a warm, fuzzy community here where everything is perfect. I don't want to live in that community. I want to live in a community where we're talking about it and discussing the problems and fixing them. That's a community I want to live in, and I want a community that we sit down with our kids and talk about it. And the problem is, I think sometimes listening to a lot of these programs where once I get done doing them, I sit back and I go, okay, did I just sound like an arrogant jerk? Because the truth is, I don't get this parenting thing either. I still keep looking for that damn book that they were supposed to give me when my kids were born, telling me how to do it. It's okay. We don't know. We're not great with it. But I watch other people. I watch mentors. And you know what? I screw up a lot. But if we can sit down and talk to these kids. In North Branch last week, this one, it's happened in every one of them. But the North Branch one, for some reason, really stuck out to me. I stood in front of whatever there was in there. And that was actually that was 9 and 10, I believe, in that grade. And I said, here's what I encourage you to do. I beg you to do this. Every one of you, I want you to go home tonight and go to mom and dad and say, can I sit down and talk to you? Because we were talking about discussing these things. And it's okay to talk about your fears and what's going on in schools. I said, I beg you, go home tonight and sit down, or go to your mom and dad and say, Mom, Dad, whatever, can I sit down and talk to you? Remember, I'm standing in front of 400 kids. And as I looked, about 50% of them went, yeah, that's going to happen. Rolled their eyes. That's sad. I watched it. I saw the kids going, that's not good. So, and again, I'm not saying I'm any better than that. My son and I just went to Florida back here a few weeks ago. And truthfully, we went for a father-son trip. I knew I'd been so busy that I needed to go get away and talk with him. So we went down. The very first night we're in the hotel, we go down to the pool. And I'm all excited because, I'm going to have that great father-son talk. And I got it all rehearsed and how I'm going to do it. And the fun that we're going to have. And I get talking and I sit down and I start how I got it planned. And I get about 15 minutes in and I see him going. And I realized in that first 15 minutes, he hadn't said a word. I wasn't talking with my son. I was talking at my son. And that's when it dawned on me is, shut up. Now I know TV 25 spun that the other day. And I thanked them for that. I said in North Branch, I said, listen, we as adults, me as an adult, sometimes we got to shut up and listen to our kids. Obviously, of course, TV 25 puts the headline as, Sheriff says, shut up. So that was fantastic. So I appreciate all the people I upset with that one. But we get talking about social media. Folks, I hope everyone realizes how scary social media is. It's such a great tool. There's so many things that we can do with it. And gosh forbid, the truth of the matter is half us, even though it wasn't our generations that grew up with it, we couldn't live without it. But the problem is there's a lot of dangers out there. And I'm telling you, I beg you, and it took me a while to understand it because I'm not a real tech-savvy guy. So to sit and listen to, or to sit and look at a phone or to go through it, I don't know it. These kids are so much smarter than we are. And I beg you to educate yourself on it. I want you, if you don't do it, or your kids or grandkids or whatever it may be, they have to know that somebody's watching. They have to know that somebody's looking at that phone. Truly think about what you're able to do with your phone. You can get on right now and look at everything in the world that you ever would want to. Pictures, content, order things, get information how to make bombs, whatever it may be, with a push of a finger. It's that easy. And the problem is, that's so much power to give to a 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old. Something that I can't fathom to do at that age. So when they do it, a lot of times we focus on the kids of, oh my gosh, the bad kids are that. No, we would have done the same thing, you guys. Truthfully. It's just part of life. So, but the problem is, I think a lot of times, and I hear this a lot of times from parents is, well, I don't even know how to work that stuff, or I don't know how a smartphone works, so what am I supposed to do? Just get in it. I tell people all the time, especially in parent forums, here's what I ask them to do. Do me a favor tonight when you go home, and your kid comes in, all do their homework, all of a sudden they're over with that screen attached to their nose like it normally is. Just walk over and grab the phone. And I said, I don't care if you even know how to work that smartphone, but just grab the phone and you're gonna see the look on their face like, what is going on? And then I said, walk over to your recliner or sit on the couch, sit there, and I said, I don't care if you even know how to work it, but just hold the screen up and touch it. And watch what your kid does. They're gonna freak out. I don't even care if it's turned on, just turn it away from them and go, and just every once in a while go, oh, we're gonna talk. You're going to see these kids absolutely flip out. But you know what? They know you're looking. Educate yourself on how to do it. There's people in the room, there's people in your family, there's people that you're around that can show you how to do that stuff. And we talk about it and we joke about it and we laugh about some of the things with this stuff. But folks, this is real. This is really, really scary. We talk about sexting. If you don't know what sexting is, it's taking naked photos and sending them back and forth to each other. I am here to tell you that this is normal behavior from 6th grade up. I can guarantee you in the first year of being here at the Sheriff's Department or in people's front rooms, kids that I've coached, people that I'm close to, everything that I have talked to a couple hundred people. I know in one of the 6th grade schools or one of the 6th grade classes, there was close to 100 kids sending photos back and forth to each other. Here's the problem. These kids talk to me. They tell me. They're open with me. They explain it. And you know what every one of them says? When I sit down and talk with them and say, dude, you got to explain this to me because I don't get it. And 95% of the answers are, Coach, everybody does it. And it's not even amongst groups. Like we think of growing up when we had our clique. or your group, whether, sports or band or cheerleading or drama or whatever it was, your little group of friends that did it, that you think, okay, we did everything between each other. These are groups that don't even have anything to do with you, that aren't even in that same social group back and forth, but they just send pictures to each other. Hey, send me some photos. Send. Not only is it scary, but it's a felony. And it can ruin their lives. And we've seen cases like the Davison deal, where a kid gets a hold of multiple out of a Davison high school and then puts them on a website of about 30 Davison high school girls, builds the website, and then puts it out there for the whole world to see. How horrible would that be? The other side of it is, and I say it to the schools all the time, because they're things that they can relate to. Boyfriend, girlfriends, they're in 9th grade, 10th grade, whatever it is, and oh my God, are they in love? We're going to be together forever. Well, about 17 hours later, they're broken up. And now that photo that was sent back, and the boy, the girl, can go both ways. They're sitting at a ball game that night and have a sleepover. Everyone's hanging out at a house and goes, hey, man, did you ever see these? Happens every day. I know we're short on time with it, so I want to tell you one big story. This story is the one that usually gets everybody's attention, and it's one that people realize of, okay, I have to do something here. Remember, social media could be such a great source, but it's an avenue for bad people to do bad things. There's people that are pedophiles. There's people out there that are lurking in the dark, posing to be kids. And this happens every day. I think, unfortunately, probably more than you want to realize that it happened, that I want to realize that it happens. We are taking complaints every single day on these things. Here's one that's active right now that just got moved to the FBI. I won't say, again, schools or towns. Young lady just turned 14 years old. Good kid, good in school, good family, everything. The only thing was, there was a little question. She wasn't supposed to have Snapchat, which is and that's the big one that a lot of these kids are communicating on. So she wasn't really supposed to have Snapchat. She does have it. She's on one day, and all of a sudden she gets a message from somebody that she believes is in her school. Now, there's no profile picture attached to it, just a diagram. She sees the name, and she's like, oh, that's so-and-so from my school. Okay, so she starts talking back and forth to him. Little Johnny is the one that goes back. He's nice to her on there. They're talking. Let me backtrack a little bit. Last summer, in the July-ish, somewhere in there, Snapchat came out with an update that nobody knew about. Or that if you do what the kids do is, they get an update on something, okay, they don't even know what they're pushing. Or they just clear it off. I do it, for gosh sakes. So Snapchat pushes out an update to everyone out there. First of all, remember, Snapchat doesn't give a crap about our kids. Okay? They're about making money in their name. So they push this thing out. Here's what this thing was. And 90% of the kids go, okay, and then move on to their business. That one turns on their location services on their phone. Kids didn't even know they had it. So during that time, this was in July of last summer, I'm doing this. This is my job. My son's playing in a ball tournament in Detroit. We're camping at the Port Huron KOA north of Detroit there. Kids got an early game. They all go to bed. I'm sitting at a campfire with my wife and everybody, all the parents. And the one mom says to me, she goes, Scott, what about that update with Snapchat? I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. She goes, yeah, they just pushed it out. And I said, well, tell me. She goes, well, let me look. She helps with the ball team, so all of our kids are on Snapchat with her. So she looks at it. She goes, well, look, my son's name's Braden. She goes, well, let's look at Braden's. Oh, yep, there he is. It shows he's on Site 22 at the Port Huron KOA. Think about that. I was nauseous. I truly was nauseous that it showed 5 out of our 15 kids that's really good. You got a sign and everything. That's awesome. I need you to go with me everywhere. So they put that out. So I'm now fast forward to this girl. So this girl gets on. She talks to this boy for 4 days. He's super nice to her. Everything back and forth. It's great conversation. Day 5 comes along. He sends her a message and says, hey, I need you to do something. Okay, what's that? I need you to send me nude photos of yourself. She's like, I'm not doing that. And he sends back and says, yeah, you are. And if you don't, he's sending this back to her, I'm going to come to 123 Main Street, but types in her address, and I'm going to kill your parents. How does an adult handle that, let alone a 13, 14-year-old girl? The problem is, for those 4 days, he watched everywhere she went. That's all he did was sit there and watch. So he knew everywhere she went, knew where she lived, and said, I'm coming to kill your parents. So she ends up panicking, obviously. He then sends her another message when she doesn't answer and says he's then going to come to her school, puts the address and the name of the school in there, and that he's going to rape her in the parking lot. Think about that, dealing with that as a kid. They end up 2%, the national average of kids that are put in a position, will they go to their parents? 2% of them will. That's a scary stat. Ultimately, what happens is she tells her friend at school, her friend tells her mom, that mom tells this girl's mom, they call the police. We get there, we investigate it. We end up raiding the guy. We figure out where it's at. This is a middle-aged man living in his basement of his mom's in Genesee County. That it does this. Here's the worst part about it, and here's the part that I get nauseous when I say it is. The problem is when we raid it, we find out he's doing this to hundreds of girls in 3 different states, thus why the FBI has it now, because they're taking over the case because of the multi-state. The worst part of the story, when we go through the computers to put the case together with the FBI, there's hundreds of photos of 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old young girls. Hundreds of photos of them send them naked pictures to this man, bawling their eyes out in the photos because mom and dad are going to die. A story that I say just because of the effect of, this is a real case that happened in our county, you guys, and we receive them every single day. It's ungodly scary. We have to pay attention to it, and I beg, and this is why I'm just like when I leave here, I'm headed back up to North Branch. Every day I'm going to do this. Every day I'm going to talk about it, but I can't do it by myself. If you guys, when you go home tonight, your kids, your grandkids, your sons, your daughters, to sit and talk to them about the things and say, listen, I know you're uncomfortable about it, but you have to dig in. You have to be there for them. We can do this together. We can make the changes together. But ultimately, as a community, I think Lapeer County has the ability to do that. Just this room right now and this happening and the resources we have is huge. We can do this, but we have to know that there's a problem and talk about it every time you can. Educate somebody every time that you can on the dangers that are out there. And she even has on there that you're supposed to say goodbye. Yeah. Gosh, she's good. You guys are on roll. I know that we didn't get to some of the things. Go ahead.
Do you want to, let's just take 5 minutes. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions or concerns? Or did you like to ask Sheriff McKenna?
Yes.
One of the things that you stated was so interesting is how trust was established within 4 days for her to do this. How do you eliminate that trust for these children thinking it's okay to talk to a stranger or somebody they think they know?
It's a great point, and I think that's what's happening when I say, I hope everyone realizes, and that's why I tell these kids all the time, whether it's Snapchat, whether us, with adults, Facebook a lot of times is the ones the adults have. I guarantee you on your kids, but even on some of yours, there's people's names and profiles that are on there that aren't those people. Okay, and it's hard to, so there's times where I think I know that person or I think I know that person. With these kids, they're taking pictures off the internet. I'm a new kid that moved into town and put it there. A lot of it truly, and I say this over and over, is talk with your kids. This story I just told you, I'm telling, depending on the age, I go to where I'm saying exactly the full details of it. But I'm telling that story every day. That's the one that comes out. I could tell you, the problem is, I could tell you 50 more stories. But so for these kids to realize is, hey, I think it's hard they get on there and we build our kids to, you trust people and then it's hard to come back and say, hey, there's bad people on here too. And these things are doing, we just saw, 2 weeks ago up in Midland, or it started in Lansing and then ended up going into Bay County, was the 11-year-old girl that the guy from some 18-year-old ended up talking to her on Craigslist, and he ends up picking her up in Lansing, taking her up, and they find her in a hotel up in Bay County. These are every day across the country. So to really have those conversations, and they might not, and the truth of the matter is, I understand kids. I got 2 of them that sit in my living room every night and ignore me. Is when you go home and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about, okay, Mom, what is it? But they do hear you. Especially now they hear you. Because people, they're worried. They're nervous. Any other questions?
Outside of Snapchat, what are other apps that parents should be aware of or be looking for on their
Good.
kids' phones?
The big ones are, I always ask, when I go into the class or go into these assemblies, I'll say, okay, who's got Snapchat? About 90% of the kids have Snapchat. It's the one that goes up. Instagram will drop down a little bit. Twitter will drop down even lower. And then I'll say, who has Facebook? And about 90% of the hands go down. And then I had a young lady that came and told me at Lapeer High School, which I was really proud of, and she came up and she said, Mr. McKenna, you do realize that Facebook is for old people. And I said, so is that bad that I only have Facebook? And I think she kind of went, my point exactly, and walked away. But those are all the main ones. But and here's the part where a lot of times people say, well, I don't understand it. There's apps and things on their phone that aren't what they appear to be. I'll give you an example. One of the biggest ones is a calculator. You go purchase whatever phone you have, there's a built-in calculator, right? You'll see the little calculator thing with the plus, the minus, the equal. There's an app out there that you can go and download the app that looks like a calculator, but then when you click on the calculator, it opens up, takes a 4-number letter or whatever password is, and then it's a photo booth that is not in your camera roll. So for selfies, the sexting, all those other things. So what do parents do? Flipping through, oh, calculator. Smart. It's really, really smart. Even the school threat stuff. We got kids that are putting comments on about Columbine or Florida or whatever it is. They keep it in there. Nobody sees it. The problem is there's hundreds of those. So I think a lot of times people will say, and I've had people say, I can't keep up with all of it. I get that, and I get overwhelmed too, but it's our duty to do that. I had one lady tell me in North Branch, sorry, I wasn't supposed to say the name. This happened to be a parent conference, or a teacher conference that during their training day. I had one lady say to me, we got talking about the apps and talking about these things, and I said, I am begging you to pick up your kid's phone tonight and look through it so they understand that they're being held accountable for what's on there. A lady raised her hand, and I mean no disrespect, because there's probably some of you in here that feel this way. The lady raised her hand and she goes, Scott, I got to be honest with you, I'm really uncomfortable with that. Okay, what part? And she said, of going through my kid's phone. And I said, why? And she said, because I believe it's violating my kid's civil rights. And with respect to her, again, everyone's got their views. As I said, how old's your son or daughter? She said, 12. My son's 12. I said, who pays for that phone? She said, well, I do. And I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, but you're willing to take a chance of something happening to your 12-year-old son because of their civil rights? That a phone that you pay for and they're 12 years old making decisions like that? The problem is there's a lot of things like that. And again, I mean no disrespect to those people or that feel that way or that understand it because they're probably raising great men and young men and young women. But at the same time is dig into it. Be diligent about it. Educate. You can go on Google right now and say, show me the apps, hidden apps that are downloaded for different purposes. It'll show you the calculator. It's the first one that'll show up. Educate yourself for it. Be diligent about it. It's uncomfortable at first, but then it becomes for your kids. Mom's coming to get my phone again, or Dad's coming to get my phone, or they know that when they set it down on the table that night, at the end of the night, or whenever it is, you're going to go through it. We have to do it because there's just so much happening in this world. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, Sheriff McKenna. That was wonderful, amazing. So those hidden apps, there are ways to find out, obviously, like what those are. And if you aren't real skilled with the phone, you can always take it to the Verizon store, the Sprint store, whatever. And they will be able to help you and go through that phone. And they can tell what those hidden apps are. And they can help you figure out how to get those off the phone. So I guess if it's a difference between civil rights and the possibility of your child's life and welfare, I'd rather go on the side of the child's welfare. So thank you again. Thank you very much, Sheriff McKenna. Okay, our first sponsor, Lapeer County ISD Special Ed Center, Casey Rich. Did Casey make it this morning? I don't see her, so we will move on. Jeff Hall, AT&T Prime Wireless. I don't know if Jeff made it either. Okay, well. All right, Cheyenne McBee, Sweeten and Associates, Farmers Insurance, come on up here.
Good morning. My name is Cheyenne, and this is my colleague, Mary. First off, I would like to thank Nita and the Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity this morning. We are here today representing Farmers Insurance and our agent, Aaron Sweeten, who has opened a new office in downtown Lapeer in the old post office on the lower level. In the bag handout, if you were lucky enough, you may have gotten a beer koozie to keep your cans cool, or maybe a stress basketball for when you get an annoying client. Possibly a yo-yo. Anywho, you can have the feeling of a nostalgic childhood again. Either way, enjoy. Let me start by telling you a story. Farmers Insurance was founded by John C. Tyler and Thomas E. Levy in 1928. These two men went from farm to farm, obtaining their first policies until they were able to open their own office, which was a one-room office in downtown Los Angeles. Their first year in business, they encountered the greatest economic depression in American history. Tyler and Levy worked and fought hard in that time, which in return paid off, as Farmers was only one of few to make it through that hardship. That type of mindset is what drives agents today: hard work and fighting for our clients. In 2017, J.D. Power rankings showed Farmers is #1 in small business customer satisfaction. Not only that, we have seen over the last 3 years, our small businesses rates have gone down, making our products even more competitive. We offer business owner policies, umbrella policies, workers' compensation, and auto policies for commercial vehicles. Now, those are standard commercial policies. However, what sets us apart is we take the time to sit down with you and create the business insurance you need. We also offer coverages specific to certain industries, that only we offer as a company. Lastly, insurance is there when disaster strikes. How often have you heard people say that insurance is just looking for ways to not pay? Not Farmers. We have a claims payout of 98% within a week. Our claim service leaves little to be desired. So my question to the audience here is, why haven't I seen any of you in our office? I hope to speak with many of you before our time is up here. You guys have a wonderful time.
Okay, our next sponsor, Darlene Collins from All Dogs Can. Lots of new and exciting things happening for you. This has been a tough year this past year, but
Yes.
you made it, you did it, so lots of good things.
Thank you. Thank you. My name's Darlene Collins. We own a brand new dog training center, which has taken us quite a while to get there. We train all breeds of dogs. We work on dog behavior and commands, as well as sports field and competition and agility. And right now we have every weekend in 2018 booked that brings in approximately 60 handlers to the community that buys gas, hotels, restaurants, and stuff like that. I became hooked on agility in 2008 when I had a Siberian Husky, Maya. It was my dream to own a dog training center so I could enjoy it, and I wouldn't have to drive 2 hours away, and we could bring it here to Lapeer. My husband has always been very supportive and helped me build a lot of the equipment, and good thing he's very handy. We have classes from obedience, agility, freestyle dancing with your dog, trick and conformation and we've added nose work and canine fitness since we opened up into the new building. Every few months we have canine good citizenship and therapy dog international testing and AKC trick testing. The Canine Good Citizenship and Therapy Dog help you lead your way to maybe a special service dog, and we don't do the over the internet. We guide them through the right way they should be guided through to get a proper permit. We believe in more than just sit, stay, come, and heal. Our experienced instructors train dogs using positive methods, ensuring them they will live with safe and welcome everyone into their home. One of the advantages of having a well-trained dog allows them to go into different events and or dog parks, especially since Lapeer is thinking about that. So you want a well-behaved dog to go into a dog park, and it helps the dog coexist in the family. The dogs can learn clever tricks, and that gives them something to do, which keeps them out of mischief, and you end up enjoying your dog much better. The joys and the smiles on the handlers when they are out there running in an agility course, which is numbered course, so we have people 85, 90 years old out there running. It gets them out of the house and gets them moving. And it makes them count, and they got to memorize the course, which helps them. So after 6 years, we finally built a brand new facility. It's 80 by 224. It's behind the Moose's Lodge. We moved our artificial turf in there on December 15th. We have 11 instructors, and we now are adding more instructors. We have a wait list of students waiting to get into classes. We bring people in from Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Canada. We have an international handler working for us. So All Dogs Kim was nominated Small Business Person of the Year through the Small Business Development Center last year. So we were very proud of that. We worked with Lapeer Development Corporation and Small Business Development to get where we were at. So I really appreciate all the help that's got us to this spot. So thank you.
During Lapeer Days, in addition to the traditional disc dog tournament that goes on down in Rotary Park, Darlene and some of her staff came in and did some agility run-throughs for folks so they could kind of get an idea of what that was about with their dogs. And there was something else and freestyle dancing. So it was very cool. So, and they're going to be back again this year to do that. So lots of good things that go on down there and during the festival. Okay, so our next sponsor, Wes Smith from View Newspaper Group. Wes, come on up here.
Thank you, Nita. Good morning, all. Great to see everybody here this morning. I appreciate this opportunity to highlight some of our upcoming events brought to you by the View Newspaper Group. First coming up in Saturday, July 21st is RoboCon. Last year, View Newspaper Group partnered with our local robotics community for the first time to help raise money through sponsorships for that robotics community. RoboCon is a great family event. Last year, we had 19 robotics teams from all around the state. We had over 1,000 people in attendance to see demonstrations and competitions. We had a lot of hand-on activities for the younger kids. It was a great day. That's out at CFI on Saturday, July 21st. This year on Thursday, August 23rd, will be our second annual View Lady Classic, which is a ladies-only golf outing. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind here in Lapeer County. We had a great time last year, including our celebrity caddy auction, which I think our Sheriff McKenna partook in that. Our first time event last year, we raised over $11,000 for Licata, and they are our benefactor again this year. And then on Friday, September 14th and Saturday, September 15th this year will be our 6th annual View Brew Fest, which is a craft beer tasting event. This is our 6th annual. Over the first 5 years of View Brew Fest, we've raised over $30,000 for the Lapeer County Hockey Association. So we're very proud of that event. We're very proud to sponsor all 3 of these events. They're great events to partake in. They're wonderful sponsorship opportunities for businesses that want to partake in the community and help fundraising for some really good causes. So put them on your calendar. There's contact information on the sheet that's in your bag today. Let us know if you want to partake or if you'd like to sponsor. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Russ. And so when all of you come to Brewfest, I'll be selling drink tickets. So buy them from me. I hold the record, don't I?
Yes, you do.
I sold almost 1,000 tickets at the event last year by myself. So, cha-ching. So, and it's just a great event. Lots of great music and food. It's just a lot of fun. Okay, so our first nonprofit speaker, Peggy Patton, Families Against Narcotics. I'm sorry, our member focused, Ellen Patnaud from Lead Climb. Come on up here.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi. Hello. Just wondering if you were actually here. Good morning. So I don't know very many of you that well, so I thought I'd start by just telling you a couple things about me. First of all, I have an 8th grader and a 6th grader in North Branch, and much to my 8th grader's dismay, I check his phone every night. And while he earns money to pay for it monthly, and he bought it himself with money he saved up, he's 14, so I tell him he's kind of still my property. So anything he owns, I own. So feel free to use that if you want with your kids. I am actually a Detroit native, born and raised. I'm an Alma College graduate. I've lived all over the Midwest. I've been in business for myself for 13 years. And what we do is we do leadership and development training for people in how to play in the sandbox of life more nicely together. So we focus really on communication skills and what it takes to be a good team intact. I've been doing this work for about 20 years, some of it in the nonprofit sector, where I learned a lot about community and the importance of community and the role that it plays in our lives. So everything that Sheriff McKenna was saying this morning really resonated with me quite a bit. I'm a wife and a mother and a sister and a daughter, and I have a lot of family in this area, and I'm very proud to have this be my 2nd year as part of the chamber. So I wanted to ask you, do you ever wonder why people do what they do the way that they do it? Does that question ever come up to you in your minds? Do you ever think about that? Why do people do what they do the way that they do it? We've built a business trying to answer that question. We have a lot of great tools that help us answer it and then show people what those answers are. Basically, we take blinders off of people. So when you have your blinders on, it's really hard to see what's going on around you, and it's really hard to see another perspective. We help take those blinders off of people because once they have that awareness, then they're much better able to make decisions about how to engage with one another. There's a few different ways that we do this. One of the ways is in classroom-based workshops, and we look at answering a few questions. One of them is, how do people accept ideas? How do people process thought and communicate with each other? How do people work best, and how do they make decisions? Even though some of our classroom is some of our training is in the classroom, all of it is very interactive. We're big on getting people to talk to each other and engage with each other. Some of our workshops have a philanthropic component. We do a lot of workshops where we build bikes and give them away to the kids in the community who wouldn't otherwise have a new bike. And then some of them are with horses. That's our newest component, and that's the part that I want to showcase for you. So we really love this work. We really love our horses. There's me with one of my favorite mini donkeys. So you have some flyers in your bag that look like that. There's a packet of them, actually. And on there, you're going to find information about what we're doing. We're introducing our first taster event. And our taster event is designed to do what it says, give you a taste of what it is that we do, because people are like, you do what with horses? You want me to do what? We want you to come and check it out. That's what we want you to do. It's on April 20th. We're doing it down in Oxford. There's 2 sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Each session will be 2 hours. And the address and information is on there. It is by registration only. We have a limited number of spots, and we hope that you'll check it out. And I look forward to getting to know more of you, because we're in the business of communication, and that's why we all show up, right? Is to build relationships between businesses. So I look forward to talking to all of you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ellen. Sounds like a great event. Okay, now Peggy Patton, Families Against Narcotics. Good morning.
Thank you. Will those of you that I asked to stand up, please stand up for a moment. Last year in Lapeer County, we lost 17 people to drug overdoses. Look around, there's about 17 people standing. When you see that number on a piece of paper, it doesn't mean much. But whenever you think about the fact that that represents lives and families, it has a huge impact. Thank you. At Families Against Narcotics, we believe that we can make a difference, and our goal is to save lives by empowering communities and individuals. We have 2 events coming up. In your bag, you have some information about our Spring Fling, which is going to be May 2nd at the Lapeer Country Club. We would love to have you come out. Our speaker is going to be talking about Narcan. There's a saying that says, treatment fails 100% of the time when people are dead. But where there's life, there's hope. So we would like you to come out and hear him. We would also greatly appreciate sponsorships, so there's information about that as well. We also have a Run Drugs Out of Town event that's coming up in August, so please mark your calendar, start training, so you'll be able to do that 5K walk or 5K run. And I'd also just like to mention, please share our information with the community. Sometimes I feel like we're the best kept secret in the county, and we're here to help people. We meet the 2nd Thursday of every month at St. Matthew's Church right downtown. Again, where there's life, there's hope, and we're making a difference with the help of all of our community partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Andrea Brown and Liz McVetti, Habitat for Humanity. Well,
Liz does.
Liz does. Yeah. Here we go.
Thank you. Good morning. Andrea wasn't able to be with me this morning, so I am doing this by myself. Thanks, Andrea. I am here on behalf of the Habitat for Humanity to talk about an event we have coming up. In your bag, you have a beautiful black flyer. This is for our Grape in the Grain event. We are looking for table sponsors at all 3 levels, as well as selling individual tickets. I do have them with me if you are interested before we leave today. Otherwise, you can get them at our Habitat for Humanity, the Restore. So what is the Grape in the Grain? It is a sampling of the finest whiskeys, wines, and vodkas. Also, there will be a gourmet menu provided by the Metamora Golf and Country Club. This will take place on Friday, June 8th. And we will be having a silent auction. A couple of those items that will be in the silent auction are a Caribbean getaway, an African photo safari, and something new we're trying this year is called our Barrel of Cheer. You will also be entered into one of the many door prizes, so please come and join us on Friday, June 8th. Again, I have tickets if interested. And thank you to everyone that has supported us in the past, continues to support us, and supporters for the future.
Thank you, Liz. Okay, Ben Cummings, the Lapeer Center,
Thank you, Nita.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Would you be so kind as to find this one in your packets? And like Nita said, and thank you, Nita, I'm Ben Cummings. I'm the Executive Director of the Lapeer Center. And for those of you who don't know, the Lapeer Center is a very strong community resource. We are a nonprofit event center that has been in continuous operation for 65 years. And we do all kinds of things. Every week we host the Rotary Club and feed them lunch on Tuesdays, Kiwanis Club on Wednesdays. We host Masonic Bingo on Tuesday night, every Tuesday night. We have a lovely flea market every Sunday. Every weekend we regularly host weddings, birthday parties, holiday parties, anniversaries, quinceañeras. We're doing a lot more Mexican girls' 15th birthday parties. And we have been in operation for 65 years, so the place is in need of a freshening up. It's quite a challenge. I've been saying lately that I think I project so much confidence sometimes that people think, Ben's got this. Well, I don't got this. I really need help. It's quite a challenge, and so that's why I'm here today. I know not everybody has the capability to contribute to our capital drive. We have just shy of a $750,000 goal that we're shooting for a renovation to settle the place for many, many years in the future. There's no reason to think that it won't be in continuous operation for 30 or 40 or 50 more years.
but everybody does have the capability to contribute to our Sustainer program. And this one will help us with operations, and it will give us the opportunity to give back to our nonprofit partners in an even bigger way. We have a special focus on helping our nonprofit partners host big nonprofit fundraising events. And the better our operational budget works, the more that we can contribute to those organizations, and they give back to the community in an even bigger way. So please take a moment, fill it out. There are all kinds of perks and benefits that come along with our Sustainer membership that you can read about in the brochure. And thank you for your help. Have a good morning, everybody.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, how are we doing on time? Well, we're a little bit over, but we're getting close. We're not quite over yet. We're just a little bit behind. So, Glenn Ream, Vietnam Veterans of America. Come on up here, buddy. How are ya?
Oh, I woke up this morning. It's a good day.
That's a good day. You're upright and you're walking and talking. Got a minute.
Okay, reference to Memorial Day. We're working on a little addition to Memorial Weekend. The Michigan-Vietnam traveling wall is coming to Ray C's here in Lapeer, Michigan, May 25th and 26th. We're in the process of putting things together. When we have it done, we will open it up to the media. The expo, our chapter is going to have a booth. I've been asked to put together a color guard again this year, which I'm working on. We're going to have a short ceremony at 11:15. And well, I've got the gentleman from WMPC hostage here. Please, we would like you to do our Memorial Day service and send it across the world. And you have flyers in here. I had a person ask me, I showed him the list of people that was involved with Memorial Day, and he says, how do you get this? I said, well, it's going on 19 years of practice. Yeah. So it's just, in regards to kids, I like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and usually the Young Marines are there. It's my generation's job to educate kids about all the wars and actions that have been going on forever, because you're not going to learn this stuff in school.
Right, that's right.
So my generation is the teachers, and my generation is out there to help the new veterans that are coming back. We don't want you to go through what we went through. It's wrong. People have to recognize that these kids are doing the very same things that I was involved and other people were involved 50-some years ago, and they need to be taken care of. So with that said, I have all mine covered.
Okay.
I think. If I forget something, remind me.
Thanks, Glenn. So yes, like Glenn said, there are flyers in your bags about the Memorial Day Parade, and then we'll also be posting that on the new marquee that's on 24 and emailing information and reminders out, and Glenn does a great job organizing that parade and stuff, and we're certainly, the chamber is pleased to be a part of that and to help him get that organized. And okay, so can we have all of our ambassadors up front here? Pam and Penny. Unfortunately, Josh Klein Millen Sport is not able to be here, so I'm going to have all the ambassadors introduce themselves. So you get to know who our ambassadors are, because we had a meeting last night and some people said, well, I'm not sure, I don't know this one or I don't know that one. And also, we're always looking for ambassadors to help us do the things that we do in all of our events. If you think about the chamber, we're busy and we're always trying new things for the community and for our members. And we have 2 full-time staff and a seasonal staff. So we essentially have 2 3/4 people that do all of the things that we do, the planning and stuff in the office, but we need people like the ambassadors and volunteers to really help us make those things run smoothly and assist with those events. So,
Hi, I'm Chris Rushlow, and I manage the branch of qualified staffing here in Lapeer. Hi, I'm Mandy Borg with Goodwill Industries of Mid-Michigan.
Hi, I'm Norma Krause. I'm with the Kiwanis Club.
Ray Davis, retired.
Good morning, Angela Bannister with Independent Bank. Julie Forbush with Flint Area School Employees Credit Union. Pam Wagner, seasonal.
Penny Lloyden, admin, the face behind all the emails.
Yeah. All right.